Hello, this is Kevin Heslin. I'm a research manager at 451 Research. I'm speaking to Rick Sawyer. He's a strategist at HP Critical Facilities. And we're talking about his Thursday, May the 16th presentation at the Uptime Institute Symposium, Code Mandates for Data Center Operations. Welcome today, Rick.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for being here.
Well, Rick, you have I think, a very important topic to deal with, code mandates. They can be a little elusive for most people in the industry, and it's good to have an expert on board. Why don't you tell me a little about your presentation and what you're going to be talking about?
Okay. If you delve into the code world, there are three basic codes that data center managers and data center designers and data center operators have to worry about. One is NFPA 75, the other is NFPA 76, which are standards around how data centers and telecom centers should be built. Of real importance is NFPA 70, which is the National Electrical Code. Traditionally, the National Electrical Code has been primarily concerned with fire and how you prevent it by design, how you sense it, how you suppress it, and minimize the impact to health and safety and property. What's happened over the last couple of years is the NFPA 70 is beginning to recognize data centers and starting to deal with how those standards in NFPA 75 and 76 should be applied via code to the data center. So we're going to be discussing the implications of that. As most of the listeners will know, standards are standards, but codes have the authority of law. Obviously, we want to warn the people that are listening as to make sure which code is applicable in their particular regions. What's really changed is the consideration on our side for data centers is that if you lose a data center, there may be catastrophic impacts on public safety, national security, or financial implications on business continuity. So the codes are beginning to address that, both from a prescriptive basis, in other words, this is what you should be doing, or required to do, and also from an approach status. In other words, there are choices that data center managers are going to have to make, and those choices have impacts on their standing under the code, their standing before the law, and what they actually have to install. Changes, unless they are in very quick reaction to something that's known to be wrong, generally take about 2 to 3 code cycles to get into place. One of the things that we've been working on would be HP, EYP Mission Critical Facilities, along with the Uptime Institute, and along with AVCOM and Group Schneider and some other people in the industry, notably Richard Sawyer of TiePoint, is how the code deals with EPO switches. And this is going to be primarily the focus of my attention, because an EPO is a heart attack waiting to happen in the data centers. And the choices you make actually impact whether you're going to be required to have an EPO or not. This was not the case in previous codes. The system is digesting the current changes, which were very large in the 2011 codes. So we're going to be focusing on what's there. I suspect that there won't be that many major changes in 2014 relative to data centers. There might be some sharpening of language and requirements, but the big step was taken in 2011. We want to make sure people understand the implications of that.
In almost every conversation I have about codes, the role of the authority having jurisdiction, the AHJ, comes for discussion. What is their role, and how are they involved in these 3 codes?
All right. As I said, codes are legal. In other words, it's by statute. You have to comply. If you take out a building permit, you want to get an occupancy permit for your structure, your building, your facility, you have to meet those codes. The authority having jurisdiction and this is what's referred to in the code, is the person or persons who issue a permit, do the inspections, and then certify that you've met the code requirements in practice at the time you've completed your design. That is a person or persons. It could be a group. It could be the local fire marshal, the building inspector, the electrical inspector, as a group going through the data center. Have the power to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. They will not explain to you how to design around the code. You're expected to know that, or your engineer is. They will tell you whether it's approved or not approved. In the presentation, I'm going to conclude with a section on how to get along with AHJs and make sure that relationship is positive. The more positive relationship you have with a local authority having jurisdiction, the better off you're going to be in the long run. And this is especially important with some of these data center changes because in a lot of cases, the AHJs just don't understand the data centers. Although I have to underline the fact here is they're learning very quickly, because one of the areas that allowed us to make a strong argument for the changes around EPOs were the 911 call centers. You can imagine if you had an EPO switch in a 911 call center and somebody either hit it by accident or hit it deliberately to sabotage, or there was a fault in that circuit, the 911 call center would go offline. So requirements like that are becoming part of the code, which we would never have seen in the last 3 or 4 codes before that.
Terrific, Rick. That last section alone, I think, will probably be worth people attending. The AHJ issues can sometimes be pretty contentious. Anyway, I want to thank you for your time today, and look forward to seeing you at the symposium.
Look forward to seeing you too, Kevin.